Okay, I think we are online now.
We're live.
Yeah, we are live. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunar Rhythms. Once a month, Christeen will bring us her observation of a planetary movement and current event. Well, how are you, Christeen?
I'm discombobulated. Of course I am. Mercury has just turned round. It takes a good 24 hours to readjust, right?
Yeah.
It's been frantically silly busy all day.
Yeah.
And right this minute, I would love to be watching and hearing what the Chancellor here has to say, because he's supposed to speak at 3:30. It's now 4:30 our time.
Yeah.
Still hasn't spoken. So, but somebody else is timing things for me.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, it is very interesting for astrologer. Every time when the important event or important meeting, we always just like watch. What time is it now?
Well, this is the best way to learn.
Exactly.
When I was first really involved, at the time, we had no money. It wasn't, I couldn't go out and buy the books, and we didn't. I'm talking pre-internet and everything.
Yes.
And the best way to learn astrology was teach yourself by just clock watching. You made notes of everything, right? And then you translated and did the cross thing between newspaper headlines and planetary pictures. And that was how you taught yourself.
Yes, and it is very interesting because I think last month was our very first Lunar Rhythm, and I was surprised. I shouldn't doubt, but it's suddenly like that episode, that live stream, we have more than 300 people watch, not at the same time, but just like in 1 week, 300. That was like wow! I was so surprised, and we also get quite a few good feedback. Some people they ask us say where to find your newsletter, how to register. I send them to your financial universe.co.uk.
Well, that's very kind, and that's just reminded me that tomorrow I really have to update it. But in this last 48 hours, if I can tell you what I've been doing,
I can guess.
I mean, it was extraordinary. It's just the way that everything, sometimes you can't plan everything out astrologically. You just can't do it. But on the last quarter moon, I now have an Astro crypto newsletter.
Yes.
I completely underestimated what the interest in that would be. Totally underestimated that. So, and we've had to do all the manual emails for that. That's been quite something. That's one thing.
Wow. Yeah.
Secondly, I had done an introduction to financial astrology way back in August.
Yeah.
And people then asked, are you ever going to do a monthly class? Well, I've never really felt wholly comfortable about that, but I thought, okay, we'll do it. Well, that was off the scale yesterday as well. And so it's absolutely wonderful. The interest is wonderful, but it's making me rethink. And just before you and I came online, one of the jobs today was to discuss about having an extra office space here because I need room for somebody else to be with me. So these are exciting times.
Cool. So, yes, and also oh yes, we all talk about Mercury, and I think one thing I don't want to say is interest. I think it's interesting because our current government was in office during the Mercury retrograde, and then since then we have a lot of a U-turn, and that was the key word of a retrograde.
Well, it is and it isn't. I think that the problem is that not all Mercury loops are the same, right? And that's a problem, because when you first get into it, you think Mercury retrograde equals everything turning upside down, and that's not true. The effect is heightened in certain signs. For example, if Mercury was going through Virgo or Gemini, their own signs, then it's crazy. But this is just as bad because Mercury went retrograde in an air sign. So you have an idea, let's do this economic thing, which anybody for the price of an ephemeris would have known this is not the moment to put this one forward. Mercury backs off back into Virgo, and then all the detail unravels, and it's clear it's not going to work. And I had somebody just after everything went pear-shaped and sterling was falling out of the sky. And I have to tell you, I was so fixated on cryptos, I haven't been looking at sterling. It was very easy to say, I was walking up the street, it was very easy for me to say, don't worry about it, the pound will go back to where it was. This Monday it will start to go back. Now we won't get back until the end of this week, but the turning point is now, which of course, you know, but all you and I know is that there is no way that they are using any astrological services.
No, 100% sure, 100% sure. So at this moment, I think the Mercury just moved back stationary, back to the 8-degree Libra. So, and you mentioned about the air sign. So that was like before there was an idea, and then when you move to the Virgo.
You've got to deal with the detail. But the critical thing of this, well, the two critical things is one, that it was 8 degrees of the cardinal. And as you and I know, there's 360 degrees, but they're not all equal. And some of them are more financially orientated or visible than others. And 8 degrees of the cardinals is one.
Oh, yes.
If you use the chart for the 1st of January 1801, the midnight one, the one that we tend to think of as UK PLC, use that.
UK PLC.
The rising sign is 7 Libra, so Mercury was virtually stationing right on its ascendant. So, and it's very interesting. Goodness knows what's happening whilst I'm in here now, but an hour ago they were screaming in the House of Commons about where is Liz Truss, where is the Prime Minister, because she didn't turn up to answer the questions. Well, she was never going to turn up today because Mercury is still just doing its final bit of the pirouette, right?
Yeah.
No, it will be tomorrow before we actually know what's going to happen next.
And the more scary news is about the people are doubting she's going to last. Even some people say this week, or some people say before Christmas. That was like wow, quite kind of interesting.
Well, all I know about her is that she's a Leo. That's the that I know. So we know that she is under whatever the degree is, and I don't know what it is. I haven't shown that much interest. We know that she's squeezed by the Saturn Uranus and has been all year. Anything born under that sign is squeezed by it. And now it's in orb right now. Maths isn't exactly there. So she's really between a rock and a hard place. She is a wonderful example of that. I wonder, it's hard to believe that she will stay in place, right? It really is hard to believe, but you have to think of her as being, she's the leader of the political side. You've also got, and I said to you, we'll talk about anything except the monarchy, but here we are, right? So the Queen dies on the 8th, Mercury turns retrograde on the 10th, right? And we have to wonder how long Charles is actually going to be king. You know, we're actually talking about what is the length, what's the duration of these leaders, because they are all transitory. We're all transitory anyway, but this is just, it's exaggeratedly so.
Talking about Saturn, because it's another major thing we should look about, because Saturn is going to slow down and turn the direction over the weekend, right? I think it was around 18-degree Aquarius.
That's right. And can't you think that all these Aquarians must feel so happy? They must be getting the flags ready, you know, like, yeah, come on, you know, because then we get a bit of progress. But it's really all the air sign people, because there's so much activity in the air signs now. You know, there's Mercury having its freak out with its loop. Mars about to go retrograde in Gemini. And Saturn having done its loop in the other air sign. So you have so many people who are affected with ideas.
Yes.
So Saturn is coming to this station, which is like a full stop, right? Before things move forwards. But it's so interesting that it happens just 48 hours before there's a solar eclipse. There's also the Sun-Venus conjunction, you know. There is so much happening this weekend. So I feel that we are moving well, in Liz Truss's case, she's walking the plank, isn't she?
Yeah.
Walking the plank, and we don't know if she's going to fall off or turn round, but we know that this is the danger bit.
Yeah.
For all of us, though, this weekend marks a defining moment. Right? The creatives are going to have to say this, or even children at school are actually going to have to say, this is my homework, this is what I've done, and then it gets marked during the eclipse period. I had to tell you, my real all my brain power really is going towards this lunar eclipse that's coming up.
Okay. The following one in around, I think, is the November 8th at like 16 degree.
It's unbelievable, this one, right? Because it aligns with Uranus. Right?
Yep.
Now this is a full moon doesn't always align with Uranus, right? And certainly always align with Uranus in one of the financial signs. So this suggests some kind of shock financial statement. Yeah, there we go. There we are. Yeah. So and you look at it and you think, well, when's the last time we had anything similar? Well, it takes back to the September eclipse in 2008, the Lehman Brothers collapse.
Wow.
What was interesting about that was the background to that was Saturn was opposing Uranus. The Sun was in Virgo opposing the Moon and Uranus in Pisces. What have we got this time? We still have the backdrop of a Saturn square Uranus.
Yep.
And this time we've got, a very close alignment of the Moon with Uranus and at a lunar eclipse, which sort of reinforces it. And you think, well, my goodness, what exactly what's going to happen then? Shouldn't that actually say that Mars is retrograde, by the way? It's not got the R on it.
Yeah. This software just marked with a red color.
All right. Oh, I see. Right. So you have oh, that's clever. Yeah. Okay, I've got it now. So we have all sorts of things happening really from this weekend, from Saturn station. Well, actually, we could call it from today, right?
Yeah.
But sorry, I want to try and be streamlined in my thinking. Initially, they were talking here in the UK of having they were going to present their mini budget or the accounts or whatever on the 31st of October, which I was thought a bit, really, do you really want to do that on
that time? Yeah.
Do you really want to do it as Mars was going to go retrograde in Gemini?
Yes.
Well, you obviously don't have an ephemeris. Shall I drop one in on down?
Yeah, just post it.
So it looks to me as though the decisions that are going to be taken, right, in the next couple of weeks are all the ones that will precipitate some kind of disaster on November the 8th. So I am looking for certainly a dip in the stock market, probably a low in the cryptos as well. But nobody should think that we're into some death dive, because we're not, right? There's always a sector that will revive, right?
Yeah.
The thing then is to look. There will be some tremendous buying opportunities last fortnight of November before we get a little bit of a surge towards the end of the year, which is not uncommon, and that's not an uncommon thing. But the other thing, to come back to Mercury, is that Mercury is going to turn retrograde again December the 20th. And it's going back all the way to 8 Capricorn. So it will be in square to where to the September one. So back again on 8 degrees of the cardinals, these key financial things. So all of this before we've even got to Saturn in Pisces and Pluto in Aquarius. I mean, the financial waves are getting bigger. And it's frightening. We all need lifeboats. I don't know how to how we get them, but we need lifeboats for this next bit. The thing to do for anybody is to spread risk. Right? Spread risk. Don't have all the eggs in one basket. You can't afford that now. Right?
Okay, that is so important. Yeah. So we're talking about the eclipse. We're talking about the Saturn. Well, let's come to the another thing going to last a little bit longer is the Mars retrograde. I think from end of this month, Mars will start to retrograde around 25 degree Gemini, and also I think if I'm not wrong, I think it will get out of bound from this week.
Yeah, absolutely. This is part of it. It's cycle. What's fascinating about this particular retrograde is that if you went all the, I like to do things, to do analysis by backdrop. And so sometimes the backdrop is just down back to when Pluto entered Capricorn. Other times you do the background to the last time Neptune and Pluto conjoined, which would take you back to 1891. So if you do that, yes, Mars has retrograded in Gemini before, but it's never done it like this. Usually it's got into Cancer, backed off into Gemini, and then gone on. Or it's been in Gemini, back to Taurus, and then gone on. This is the first time under this Neptune-Pluto umbrella that it's retrograded in its own sign and will turn direct in its own sign. So this puts tremendous emphasis on Gemini, which is all the way through until March of next year, which is amazing when you think about it. Mars is then, it's March next year when Saturn moves to Pisces and Pluto moves to Aquarius. So the backdrop now, Mars in Gemini, is miscommunication. You know, it's like, I always think of Gemini as being like a red top newspaper, and Sagittarius is like the more, you know, the broadsheet, the heavy duty papers. But Gemini retrograde is more like getting the Sun newspaper, but the headlines backwards.
Okay.
Cold, right? You've got to put a bit of effort in.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned about misinformation more than ever, more than ever. And particularly for our friends in the United States, you know, what is going to be uncovered there? Is it actually true or false? I mean, you know, and really you'd have to say as an astrologer, look, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to get to the bottom of this until Mars gets out of that sign.
Yeah. Especially when I look the either the Libra English chart or even this solar eclipse chart in United States from Washington, the Saturn and the Uranus all on the angle is kind of spooky. And when you combine with all the information, and also they have a midterm election, it's all kind of wow. It's such
polarization, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But this, you know, this is all preparation for Pluto going into Aquarius, and things do then. You know, Aquarius it's a lovely sign. Sorry, I have to say that to you, don't I? Right.
One of Aquarius.
It's a very underestimated sign, because you know, it puts itself out as being logical, future thinking, broad-minded, whatever. But actually, it's soft as anything inside. It's like a sweetie that dissolves in the middle. It's incredibly emotional, right? And although they put up this thing of saying that they want to embrace the future, it's the Aquarians who are usually clinging on like mad to all the system, right? Because they don't like, you know. So we have this tremendous stress, right? And it's really worrying, because we talk about this so much, and what we're not talking about is Neptune in Pisces and the mental damage that this is doing to all of us. You know, this stress. We don't feel as though anybody's really in charge. Nobody's manning these lifeboats. Nobody's even telling us to get in them. Right? They're so busy telling us about all sorts of other, how we're going to pay off this, that, and the next thing. They're not actually dealing with the fact that we're going into a new world order, and we need to think about that. We need to decide what we want that order to be.
Wow, looks like we really, before our next lunar rhythm, we have a lot of things to digest and observe, and I think the impact wouldn't be light. It's kind of we have to kind of learn how to ride the wave.
Well, you know, I'm going to be fascinated. I'm sticking my neck out and saying, yes, I think there's going to be real turbulence around November the 8th. I could be wrong, right? Because we learn all the time, right?
Yeah.
But if history repeats, then this is what we have to expect. Now, I think what we don't want to do is to turn around as astrologers and say, I could have told you that months ago, right? Because that's just downright unhelpful, right? What would be helpful is if we could come up with good language to guide people through the next bit.
Yeah.
And that takes us to your, which is a fantastic idea of yours, to have this event in February, where we're going to talk about what's coming. So we're going to write the headlines before they happen. And hopefully then people will hear the possibilities.
Yes. I think this is a quite interesting idea, because I was thinking about, we are not just talking about astrologer talking about one subject. I think we also can have a different view and have a different astrologer have a dialogue. So for following 4 months, we will have Dr. J. Lee Lehman with Mandela Clay in the end of November, and in the 17th of December we have the Link Bell with Fernanda Paiva, and in the January we have Darby Costello with Alejo Lopez, and in the February is Christeen Skinner with the Liam McCarthy. So we will have a discussion about what we can prepare, and like you say, what we can prepare, and what we know, and what can we do before this Pluto move into Aquarius and the Saturn move into Pisces, because they are not easy.
Well, it depends how we actually view being here. But you could say we're actually privileged to be here through this time. Right?
I agree. Yeah.
We have been very fortunate that we are very fortunate in many ways, and the accuracy now. So we now know exactly where the planets are going to be. We know where the asteroids are going to be. There's so many gifted astrologers out there that the way in which we take on the information and then send it out again is improving constantly. And then thanks to people like your good self, it's spreading. It's good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So before we finish today's Lunar Reason, do you have any plan for the next month before we start our next Lunar Reason?
Well, I'm either going to be digging a hole in the garden because I've got so much wrong, and burying it in it. Right? No, yesterday I ran a class. Called it a class, and I shouldn't have done that. I got this wrong. I ran this financial class, and I think I'm not particularly good with Zoom. I couldn't get the wrap. It became more like a one-woman show, which I didn't really want it to be. I wanted a conversation, but it was cool. But it's made me think that I am going to do another monthly one. I think it's November the 13th, the next one. So
that'll be so interesting.
Interested in the financial thing, if they email me, I can let them know how we plan to run those again.
Sure.
It was quite an experience putting it together.
Yeah.
And I need to sleep on it a little bit more. As I said, you've taught online. It's just when you can't see people, you can't follow through you can't pick up their thoughts.
Yes.
So, I mean, they were thrilled. We've had some lovely feedback today, but I'm still recovering.
Okay. Well, that would be so interesting. I will post your website and your contact under this comment area, so they can contact you for I think it's 13th November, right? 13th November for the financial club.
That will be the next one. It will be the 13th of November. And then we'll think about what to do after that. There, on the website, there are some product things anyway. That introduction to astrology is okay. But I need to pick up on the mundane stuff. And so it goes on and on and on.
Wow. So I think also will keep us, all these transit will keep us very busy, observation, timing, and study. Everything. Well, thank you, Christeen.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm sorry I was a little bit late today. I won't be next time.
That's okay. Don't worry. Yeah. So, well, thanks everyone for watching this Lunar Reason. If you like our live stream, please like and subscribe our AOA UK1 channel. And then next month we'll come back. I'll have the similar time around the last quarter moon. So we will discuss about what happened that time and you know,
and what's happening next, because then it's going to get really exciting. You know,
yes.
then we've got everything moving into Sagittarius, and excitement.
Yes.
That's Sun Mars opposition. Yeah,
Definitely. Well, thank you.